The drama surrounding boxing has always been defined by its unpredictability. A single punch can erase months of training, years of legacy, and rewrite history in the blink of an eye. For every champion crowned, for every fighter celebrated, there is a moment when the canvas becomes their final stage. Knockouts aren't just endings, they are statements, etched forever in highlight reels and whispered in conversations between fans. And some are so brutal, so sudden, that they nearly earn the title of Knockout of the Year. Tonight, we step into that world of shocking finishes, where one punch changed everything. These are the insane knockouts that almost became the very best of their time. The first of these unforgettable moments came when Joe Cordina stepped into the ring against Kenichi Ogawa for the IBF Super Featherweight crown. What seemed like a tactical contest suddenly transformed into an instant classic. Cordina's right hand, timed with surgical precision, detonated like a bomb. Ogawa felt like he'd been struck by lightning, sprawled on the canvas before the second round had even reached its midpoint. It was the kind of punch that doesn't just win fights, it defines careers. Cordina wasn't just a champion that night, he was a destroyer. And then, there was the terror unleashed by Olaslasius, a man whose very presence carried menace. Against Eganenko, time itself seemed to freeze. The crowd gasped as one monstrous punch turned the ring into a crime scene. Eganenko collapsed in a way that left even hardened fight fans shaken. It wasn't just a knockout, it was a reminder of boxing's raw cruelty. Kid Galahad's reign as a world champion was supposed to be steady, predictable, and dominant. For 4 rounds against the aging Spaniard Kiko Martinez, it was just that. But all it takes is one mistake, 1 second of lowered guard. Martinez, underestimated and written off, uncorked an overhand right that shattered the script. Galahad's world came crashing down in an instant. Martinez struck again moments later, sealing an upset so dramatic that it ended Galahad's brief reign and revived Martinez's legacy in a single brutal sequence. Danny Garcia, a man known for his power and timing, reminded the world why knockouts are feared when he faced off against Rod Salka. A left hook landed so clean, so violent that Salka crumpled instantly. Garcia didn't just win, he announced himself as a destroyer, a fighter who could end a career with one shot. The crowd's cheers turned into stunned silence before erupting again, because everyone knew they had just witnessed something unforgettable. Not all knockouts are expected, and some come with the shock of an earthquake. Vic Darchinyan had looked unstoppable, a wrecking ball in the lower weight classes. But Nonito Donaire had other plans. In round 4, Donaire unleashed a counter that sent Darchinyan to the canvas for the first time in his career. The once indestructible champion struggled to his feet, his eyes glazed, but the fight was over. In that moment, Donaire wasn't just victorious. He created one of the most shocking upsets in the history of the lighter divisions. The sport's unpredictability was also on full display when Gabriel Rosado faced the unbeaten Melikuziev. After being dropped early, Rosado looked finished. But veterans don't just survive, they wait. Then came the overhand right, a punch that flattened the young contender and silenced the arena. Melikuziev, a rising star, lay face first on the canvas, his undefeated record erased in brutal fashion. Rosado had transformed from underdog to hero in one glorious swing. Sometimes it happens fast. Jermaine Taylor, still undefeated, faced Alex Rios in a fight many thought would be a test. Instead, it ended before it began. A crisp, vicious shot left Rios sprawled on the mat, barely able to comprehend what had happened. Taylor walked away with yet another knockout, his perfect record intact, and his reputation as a knockout artist sharpened to a fine edge. But on other nights, it is the favorite who falls. David Price was on the verge of stepping into the title picture, his power and size making him a looming threat. Yet against Erkan Tepper, everything fell apart. A clean, devastating punch sent Price down in the second round, his title dreams scattered like shards of glass. For Tieper, it was a career-defining victory. For Price, it was the cruel reminder of how unforgiving heavyweight boxing can be. Joshua Greer brought a different flavor of showmanship to the ring. Against James Smith, he scored a knockout so sharp, so conclusive, that he debuted his now famous pillow celebration. A single punch had ended the fight, and Greer tucked Smith into an early night's rest with flair that only made the finish more unforgettable. Upsets continued to dominate the narrative. Amir Khan, the lightning-fast British star, looked untouchable against Danny Garcia, until he wasn't. Garcia timed his moment perfectly, landing a shot that sent Khan crashing down and out. What had started as Khan's showcase turned into Garcia's coronation, one of the decade's biggest shocks, and a brutal reminder that speed can only last until power catches up. David Lemieux's left hook always carried danger, but against Alvaro Gallona, it was devastating beyond belief. A single punch landed with such ferocity that Gallona's head ricocheted violently off the canvas. The arena gasped. Some knockouts are clean. This one was terrifying. Lemieux had reminded everyone why his name struck fear whenever he entered the ring. The heavyweight division has always delivered the most dramatic endings, and none came more suddenly than Dillian Whyte versus Alexander Povetkin. Whyte was dominant, even scoring knockdowns, until Povetkin unleashed a left uppercut from the depths of hell. Whyte collapsed instantly, his title dreams shattered in one unforgettable second. The crowd sat in stunned disbelief. Povetkin, written off by many, had delivered one of the most shocking heavyweight knockouts in years. Ryan Garcia, still a rising star, provided his own highlight reel moment against Miguel Carrizosa. In less than 10 seconds, 2 punches ended the fight. Carrizosa had no time to react, no time to defend, and no time to fight. Garcia's speed and precision had left fans gasping. The referee's count barely mattered. It was already over. Deontay Wilder, known as the Bronze Bomber, carried terrifying power. Against Sergey Liakovich, that power became truly frightening. A single right hand folded Liakovich, his body twitching on the canvas, in a scene that had fans more concerned than celebratory. Wilder's knockout was not just emphatic. It was scary. The drama continued when Antonio Tarver stepped into the ring with Roy Jones Jr., after famously taunting Jones with the words, "Any excuses tonight, Roy?" Tarver answered his own question with a brutal left hand that left Jones unconscious. It wasn't just a knockout. It was the end of an era. One sentence, one punch, and one legend humbled forever. And of course, there was the wild unpredictability of fighters like Butterbean, the fan favorite knockout machine. Against Jackie Beard, he delivered a right hand so heavy that Beard hit the canvas like a stone. It wasn't subtle, it wasn't pretty, but it was devastating. A reminder of why Butterbean was both loved and feared inside the ropes. From the lightning-fast finishes to the shocking upsets, these knockouts live on as more than just moments. They are chapters in boxing's violent poetry, where destiny is decided not over 12 rounds, but in a heartbeat. Every fighter who steps into the ring takes that risk, and every fan who watches knows they may witness history in a single swing. These were the insane knockouts that nearly became the very best of their year. Moments where everything changed in seconds. Which one stunned you the most? And if you had to choose, which of these deserves the true title of Knockout of the Year? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like this video, share it with fellow fight fans, and subscribe for more stories from the brutal, beautiful world of boxing.